Cooking with Grandma is so much more than preparing a meal. It's a ritual of love, a vessel for memory, and sometimes an invisible form of therapy passed down on a plate. When a grandmother dusts flour on her grandchild's nose, laughter bubbles up. But there's something deeper at play, a connection that transcends words and generations. Food, after all, isn't just sustenance. It's a tangible expression of care, a way to preserve memories, and a soothing balm for the heart. When families gather in the kitchen, they're not just making dinner. They're stirring up stories and serving emotions. In those quiet moments, hands moving in rhythm, the kitchen becomes a sanctuary, a place where wisdom is shared, not just through advice, but through the gentle repetition of recipes passed down through time. Psychologists tell us that food is deeply connected to the emotional memory center of our brains. The smell of fresh bread baking, the tang of a familiar spice, or the sweetness of a cherished dessert can bring back feelings of love, loss, joy, and even healing from grief. That's why cooking with Grandma can feel like therapy, even when no one is talking about their feelings. Sometimes the comfort of a familiar dish does what words cannot. It heals, quietly and completely. In that kitchen, something magical happens. Generational silence begins to melt away. The simmering of a soup becomes a way to soften old wounds, turning trauma into something nourishing and warm. Children learn patience, not just because a recipe says to let the dough rise, but because they learn to be present, to listen, to pay attention to the small details that make something truly special. Grandma's hands may be marked by time, a little shaky now, but they hold within them decades of experience, of survival, sacrifice, and sweetness. When kids watch, help, and learn, they're not just baking bread or cookies. They are baking their own sense of identity, resilience, and connection to those who came before. So how do you turn cooking together into a kind of family therapy? Here are 3 simple ways. First, ask about the story behind the recipe. Often, elders open up more when they're reminded of tradition. You might uncover real, raw family history, sometimes joyful, sometimes bittersweet, but always healing. Second, assign little tasks with big meaning. Let the child stir the pot, season the stew, or knead the dough. That small gesture is more than just helping out. It's a way for them to contribute, to build confidence, and to strengthen the bond of connection. Third, create a family recipe journal. Write down not just the ingredients and steps, but the stories, the dates, the feelings, and the people who were there. Over time, this becomes a living scrapbook, a record of nourishment and love that can be revisited whenever comfort is needed. Every recipe carries within it a moment of healing, a sliver of history, and a piece of the heart. The next time you find yourself in the kitchen with Grandma, listen with more than just your ears. Listen with your soul. Notice the stories simmering beneath the surface, the laughter that bubbles up unexpectedly, and the comfort that's dished out, spoonful by spoonful, because in the end, food is never just food. It's a way of saying, "I love you," without having to speak. It's a way of remembering those who came before, and of giving future generations the tools to heal, connect, and thrive. So, what's one recipe in your family that carries an emotion? Maybe it's a soup that soothed you in hard times, or a pie that made holidays complete. Whatever it is, cherish it. And remember, sometimes the best therapy is served at the family table.